Teachers of spiritual liberation and enlightenment throughout the world and throughout the course of human history counsel that you are already enlightened. The difficulty is that though you know who you are, you may not be conscious of who you are. There's a difference between knowing who you are and consciousness of who you are. It's similar to this example. At this very moment, before I bring it to your attention, your birthday, or where your car is parked, or what you had for breakfast, you weren't particularly conscious of that, though you probably knew those things, that is, your birthday, or where your car was parked, or what you had for breakfast. You would know those things, but you weren't conscious of it at that moment until I brought it up into awareness. In a similar way, you know who you are, but you're not conscious of it, or you may not be conscious of it. Just reflect on that for a moment and let that sink in. You know who you are, but you're not conscious of it. When you participate in the Enlightenment Intensive, your attention is systematically and consistently focused on bringing who you are into conscious, direct knowing. It's done by your fellow participants who are regularly requesting that you reveal to them who you really are. They're regularly, systematically, ongoingly requesting you, tell me who you are. So they're helping you to bring your attention to what you already know, but are not conscious of. It's quite profound and simple. It's the potency of the biblical phrase, where two or more are gathered in my name, when you're working with a partner. As Charles Berner noted, it would be relatively easy to contemplate who you are, as he said, if you didn't have a mind. But it's precisely because you have a mind that it can be so immensely difficult to bring your knowingness of who you are into consciousness. How come? Because the mind gets in the way. What is the mind that gets in the way? I hear you asking. Well, Berner explains that the mind is the place where all kinds of ideas, experiences, feelings, traumas, memories, all about yourself, where they're stored in the mind. These stored ideas and impressions originate from those experiences in your life that you hadn't fully understood. They arise from the psychosocial cultural environment that you were raised in, which socializes, conditions, and trains and habituates you to think one way or the other about who you are and what life is. This brings about identifications with various personality traits. For example, the residue of various experiences gets stuck in your subconscious or conscious mind, like that time when you were only 4 years old and your father startled you when he screamed at you, or when that cute little puppy dog bit you, or that school teacher or priest touched you and made you feel kind of strange. It's these sorts of experiences which are too intense for you to integrate or understand at the time that become stored in what we call your mind. Also stored in the mind are experiences like being told you're fat or short or ugly or smart or stupid, or that life is a struggle, or that you'll never be as good as your brother or your sister. It may be experiences like growing up being told you're superior to others because of your religion, of your wealth, your social status, your skin color, your sexual orientation, or your family origins. These and countless other experiences are stored as impressions in the mind. These impressions fill you up with lots of things about who you are that you haven't fully understood, or that you haven't been able to get fully understood by other people. They fill you up with things that you think you are, but you aren't. When you contemplate who you are, the mind will bring up all of these ideas and impressions about who you are that you're identified with. And, as Berner says, there might be a lot of ideas about yourself that you've not understood, which results in various degrees of confusion, uncertainty, unclarity, fear, and other emotional disturbances. That's why it takes years and years of solo contemplation to try to find your way through the morass of your mind. In the classical techniques of just contemplating, the contemplator or the seeker gradually burns out the mind. If you stared at a rock long enough, it would dissolve away. It would take staring for a very, very long time. About 400 billion years or so, that rock would dissolve as you stared at it. Breathing on the rock would gradually wear it out even more faster. Like through wind erosion, is your breath as the wind. Running water would make that rock dissolve a little faster. Taking a hammer out and smashing it or pouring chemicals on it might dissolve it away in minutes. So there's different rates at which you can dissolve away identifications, confusions, traumas, and those vested interests that are contained in the mind that make the mind stick and hold on to things. If solo meditation or contemplation gradually burns out the mind, is there a way to speed up the process of enlightenment? That is, of bringing consciousness to the activity of directly knowing who you are? Yes, there is. The most powerful means to dissolve the mind is through communication. At the Enlightenment Intensive, this principle of dissolving the mind through communication between individuals is taken full advantage of. When you contemplate who you are and then communicate what you become conscious of to another, the process of enlightenment accelerates. This is the power of the Enlightenment technique, the Enlightenment Intensive. When things in the mind are communicated, they dissolve and vanish out of the mind to the degree that they are received and understood by another individual. Now, what is another individual, you might ask? Well, that's another story for another time.